running late. Okay, there's Nelson. Hi, everybody in Facebook land.
Got it.
We'll talk.
This is the behind the scenes
Mistakes.
mistakes. Yeah. Carol,
Yes.
you're in charge of the iPhone and
Am I back
Carol
to
Adams,
Facebook?
our associate producer. To say live?
Hi, we're live. Yes,
Yeah.
we're going live, and Ken is watching. Thank you, Ken. Ken, it looks like Heineman. I'm not
Kenny
sure.
Heineman, Kenny the cameraman.
Kenny the cameraman. Welcome, Kenny the
Chicago,
cameraman.
Illinois.
Are you really from Chicago?
Well, Indiana.
Well, that's not Illinois. That's
Well,
Indiana.
it's close enough.
It's a big difference.
It's-
Pacers and
those-
Bulls. That's a huge difference.
Gary, Indiana is like next.
You know, Kenny will remember, we did a black tie cigar dinner in Gary, Indiana, a fundraiser. My friend Joe Montana looks at me and says, Johnny, you have us wear tuxedos to come to Gary, Indiana? Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. Oh, I'm supposed to be quiet. Get the wrong guy.
So everything under control?
Everything's great. I've had my shots. I feel like a dog, you know. You have your shots? I've had your shots. You got your shots. I got my shots. You got your shots. Yeah, I know. But Carol doesn't want to watch the seagulls. This is coming back on it. She's busy with Lorraine.
Did you tell me to watch?
Yeah, is anybody else coming on? Anybody else we need to
No,
say hi to?
other than Kenny, no.
Melissa's not on
He
yet?
said Gary is disaster.
Gary is a disaster.
Does that mean anything to you?
Well, Gary, Indiana.
Oh, Gary Indiana. I thought it was a person. I was gonna go, that's a little rude, but
No, we
okay.
did it. We did a black tie event there. And my movie star friend said, you had us wear a tuxedo to come to Gary, Indiana?
You could do that song, Nelson, you know, from,
Is
I
that
think it's
Ruben?
from The Music Man.
That's Ruben. That's our
Broadway.
other guest. Bring Ruben
Ruben?
in.
Ruben, how are you? Hi, I'm Carol. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Come on in. You don't need your mask. We've had our shots.
Yeah, me too. I'm
We've had
Yeah, we're all-
distemper, rabies.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
We're
How
all.
are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Pleasure.
No, I was saying,
Can I see
Nelson,
some
you could
ID?
sing
Oh,
Gary
yeah.
Indiana.
You're 17 years old.
What's that?
Your last name?
Da Silva. Da Silva.
Can I go get him a
Sorry.
water?
How are you,
How
sir?
you doing?
Separate. Run
Sorry.
this.
So is Ruben on camera?
Do me a favor and
Ruben?
run this under your shirt,
Ruben is there.
and we're gonna bring it up to
I'm gonna go get
collar
Ruben a
over
water.
here.
A
Okay.
water.
It's hard to miss us. Teaching all day and running around like 1 hour to do everything.
Yeah, we can put this on your chair, just don't
Okay.
pick it up until you put it on the table, I'll take it off of you.
Duffy, bossy.
So your ancestors are from where?
My family's Indian, but we come from a Portuguese colony.
That's I know that
Do you
Silva.
speak Portuguese?
Of course.
Because you're
I
from
was
Brazil.
born in Brazil,
Oh, I see.
but I speak Italian, English, and profanity. Yeah.
I got you with the profanity.
Advanced Navy profanity.
But I served,
Not on this show, you know.
served in the Marine Corps, so we can have some good. We speak the same language. It's not that way.
Good.
Here you go, Ruben. You can pour that in your very clean
You've been in
mug.
Vegas long?
Yeah, pretty much all my life. I'm 36 now. I've been here since I was 6.
Oh,
And New York City before that.
sure.
What was the name of the Western movie?
The professionals?
No, The Professionals.
Oh, here, I'll take it.
Oh, okay,
I'll
thank
throw
you.
it somewhere.
Thank you.
Okay, Richard, ready when you are.
I'll see if there's anyone else. I wonder if Melissa joined in. Paula Polo is watching. Hello,
Big fan of
Paula.
the Bronx Wanderers, Paul Apollo.
Really? Oh, well, how nice of you, Paula.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for dialing us up on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah,
Bronx Wonders, great act.
we love them. They came and sang at the NBA Summer League one year for us.
Yeah.
Do you play golf? You don't play golf, do you?
No, I was just, I live by the municipal golf course.
Which
And
one?
The one by Decatur and Valley and Washington.
Yeah, I played that one.
Yeah, I live by the 70 hole. I don't even know how many innings are there in the game.
You don't know how many innings are in golf? Nelson Sardelli,
I just
everybody.
didn't have the patience. You know, my conductor drummer, he even had
Who's your conductor drummer?
oh, he passed away now, Gary McDonald.
Oh.
Yeah, we travel all over the world. And Gary had a pro shop, and I used to go with him sometime, and I get so frustrated. I say, you know, this is definitely not for me.
If I had to pick a drummer in town, I think I'd pick Adam Shandell. now,
Yeah.
current drummer.
There you
I don't know everybody, but
No.
Mike Tramonto.
go. Oh, he's got fine. Gary was, when he was here, he was a drummer of the Tropicana for many years. And just a great guy.
Richard, are you going to pick up him in the other room?
Am I gonna what in the other room?
Pick up Mitch
He
talking
already
in the other room?
left. He left.
Mitch just left.
Oh,
Yeah, he just
then I'm getting an
I just need an
echo.
audio level from you. Just give me, yeah, please just count to 10 for me.
We're on Facebook Live right
Oh,
now.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, but no, he's the real show. This is the pretend show that we're on.
Is that good? One,
Hold on, Jonathan, hold on. One more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay,
7.
great, gotcha. All right.
So what is it you teach?
I teach history. Yeah, social
I
studies.
don't know much about history.
I do a little bit of, I don't know about chemistry and biology, but history I.
Carol, is my jacket bunching up on the back?
No, you're okay.
No, it looks good. Are you sitting on it? It looks,
I should, because last time I looked at the video and it was like
and you
a
saw the shoulders?
I always, yeah,
a
have the
big
trouble.
bump on the back.
I have no neck.
No,
You
it
like
looks
my-
good.
The coffee mug?
You guys look good.
Okay, you guys, Jonathan, are you
Yeah,
ready?
thanks for driving all the way from Summerlin.
So what do we, this segment is gonna be, how
Segment
long?
1. 8 minutes. Do you have a clock for
I've
me?
got a clock, yep. Yep, and I'll give you a 2 minute or 1 minute,
Okay.
30 second, and I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And that's your camera over there, Jonathan, right there.
Oh, good. Thanks.
And
That always
just
helps.
since the tables are all kind of attached, where the cameras kind of sit, part of the
Which
part
one
of,
is Nelson's camera? That one?
this is Nelson is on that one, and then I got the wide over there, and then this one's going to switch between the two of you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just be careful not to bang on the table,
Thank you.
and don't put your hand on your heart because that's
None
where
of
that's where the microphone is.
No pledge
So-
allegiance. Okay.
So it's okay to talk with your hands, but don't bang.
Okay.
Right,
Give me a
so-
5 count, will you?
All right, we're ready in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And I'm Jonathan Scott. Welcome to On Air Education.
With this camera.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you're paying attention to your phone.
Take 2.
Take 2. Stand by in this camera. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan Scott, and welcome to On Air Education, a show dedicated to helping our teachers, parents, and students with both distance and blended learning. It quickly occurred to us when the pandemic hit, how can we expect our teachers to be able to teach using a 13-inch computer monitor instead of a live classroom situation? So our goal, we figured out that who would know better about engaging students than entertainers? They've been doing it for all of their careers. So our goal is to help our teachers, help our parents and students with both this distance and blended learning. We also learned very quickly that teaching history is different than teaching science. Teaching math is different than teaching art, and teaching music is different than teaching science or English as a second language or special education. So each one of those disciplines is something that we've been addressing in our series. We'd like to thank Nevada State College for sponsoring us, and of course Clark County Education Association. When we started this program, only 30% of Clark County, which is the 5th largest school district in the United States, only 30% had Wi-Fi when we started this program. Now it's closer to 10%, so we're very happy about that. So we've got a lot of show for you. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, but the main topic really is how to engage your students in a topic such as history. We've chosen history today, and we've got some great guests to talk about the history of Las Vegas, because that's where we are. So if I may, I'll introduce our first guest. Nelson Sardelli has been performing his unique brand of singing and stand-up comedy for almost 60 years. Starting at the Thunderbird Hotel, Nelson soon became an opening act for Judy Garland.
That was her last opening act here in town. Yes.
You were? Well, how amazing.
Yeah, she used to tell that to everybody.
Nelson's comedy routine involved a cowboy playing with his gun, and those gunplay skills got him cast in a Western called The Professional, starring Lee Marvin, listen to this, Jack Palance, and Burt Lancaster.
Robert Ryan, Ralph Bellamy, and Claudia Cardinale.
Well, I was going to get,
Oh,
between
you're
scenes,
gonna-
Nelson taught actress Claudia Cardinale
How to play with the guns.
how to play with his guns. Next, Nelson appeared with our friend Pia Zadora, who sends her love. I tried to get her to come
Thank
today,
you, yes.
but she didn't have enough time
It
to
was
do
the
hair and
movie.
makeup.
Fake Out
Fake out.
with Dallas Savalas and yes, great.
and it was a comedy called Fake Out.
Yeah.
In 1970, Nelson was cast in the classic film Myra Breckinridge alongside the great Mae West.
They were running out of Italians.
Police say hello to the president of the Fiore Non-Club Club and the man responsible for legalizing marinara.
Marinara
My friend Nelson
needed to
Sardella.
be legalized. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. When you called me, I said, I guess they ran out of good guests for the show. I'll make myself available.
No, you said you mean I have to shave and put on pants? That's what he said. That's what he said.
When you said you're going to talk about history, I said, well, at my age, I am historical for sure, or at least hysterical. One of the two. So
You're
we
hysterical
get it.
and historical, and we're gonna get into
We
it. We're
have
gonna
it
have some
covered,
laughs. I
yeah.
promise you that, folks. Ruben De Silva is an educator at Rancho High School from Las Vegas, Nevada. He was born in Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. The old Bombay, but it's Mumbai now.
Yeah, but you suppose Mumbai is the correct way to say it now. India, and immigrated to the United States at the age of 2. What do you remember from that? Nothing.
I do remember a few things.
From 2 years old?
Yeah, I do remember.
Really?
I have some vague images. I remember JFK Airport. That's
Oh, that's what you remember, the airport. Ruben received an associate's degree from the Community College of Southern Nevada. In 2006, he received his bachelor's degree in American History from UNLV in 2010. Ruben completed a master's degree in global affairs with a focus on religion and globalization from the University of Pennsylvania in 2011, and a second master's degree from Yale University in comparative religion and politics in 2013. Ruben's a frequent speaker and lecturer on topics ranging from history and politics to religion and philosophy. Ruben served in the U.S. Marine Corps, was deployed to Iraq in 2007. Ruben was awarded both the Purple Heart and the Navy Achievement Medal for his bravery in Iraq. Thank you for your service, sir.
You make me sound like such a nerd here compared to this.
No, quite
movie star.
I was just gonna say he has such a wonderful contrast of guests.
Yeah.
Here you are, a certified professor, and here I am, a certified high grammar school dropout.
Ruben, you started a program, I didn't write it down, a bridge program for helping kids get into Yale. I didn't write down what
Oh,
it's
no,
called.
I didn't start that program, but I worked with, the Alumni Schools Committee here. So we do the interviews for kids who apply to Yale, so on and so forth.
But there's a name of that program.
It's called the Alumni Schools Committee. It's an official program that Yale University.
Oh, I thought it had a
has for it.
catchier name.
No, that's all. That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
What's your first memory? You came to Vegas in 1965. What do you remember the first thing that you hit Las Vegas?
Well, I had a hearing. No,
None of us are
one of
hearing
those
anything.
things. I came here in 1964 to visit Vegas, and at the time there was a gentleman called Jerry Schaefer. He was the Wonder Boy. He had shows all over.
Oh, yeah.
And my manager, I'm talking about all people that passed away. My manager told him that I was an entertainer, so he got me from the audience and made me get up on stage and do my shtick.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll call you back. I said, sure, right. So in 1965, he called me. And I came, and I remember arriving in Vegas. What impressed me the most is I arrived on a Thursday, and I have to open on a Monday, and all my arrangements were for one kind of orchestration, and they had to be cut down to something else. And I'm looking for a place to live, arrangers, and it was wonderful. It was an afternoon show. Great.
So you started as a singer, but you quickly found out that comedy was
No.
the engagement. No.
No, I think like I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great comedian. I'm not a great dancer. I'm the best Nelson Sardelli that you ever put.
I've never met a better Nelson Sardelli.
Neither
than
have
you.
I.
Neither of you.
Neither have I. No, so when I came to Vegas, I already had inserted comedy in my show.
Oh, you did.
Oh, I remember the first time I told my first, if you have a minute, my first joke. I was appearing at Cliff Bell's in Detroit, very fancy place. The owner was this kind of guy that you know that even his underwear is pressed with a, you know what I mean?
He had pleats in his
The
underwear.
pleats, yeah, beautiful, in the right distance. And I remember one night I got carried away and I told my joke, and I knew I was gonna kill them. But my English now was much worse than now.
Yeah.
So the punchline should be something about a canary, a bird.
Right.
And I said canary.
Instead of canary.
and he died. He died the most treacherous death.
You heard crickets. in the
Oh,
room.
not only the boss came to me at the end of the show, he said, Nelson, from now on, just sing. But 15 years later, I'm singing at the Flamingo,
Right.
and he was in the audience, and he came to see my show, and he saw I was a guest of the Mills Brothers, and he came to me, he says, I am so glad you didn't follow my advice.
Yeah.
I hugged him. I said, you don't know what this means to you, because that night when you told me, don't tell jokes, I couldn't even find my way home. I was devastated.
We're talking about engaging an audience and how to engage students. We're here with our guest Nelson Sardelli and history teacher Ruben De Silva. My name's Jonathan Scott. We're going to take a very quick, short commercial message and come on back with more of On Air Education.
Okay, excellent,
Awesome.
perfect.
So the
I
Mills
did
Brothers
the
open for
post.
that?
Oh, yes.
They're legendary.
Oh, God, they were wonderful. Not only they're beautiful people. I remember one time we had a club here called
Hi, Melissa.
Facebook.
Saints and Sinners. And whenever we had guests, we crucified them. And between you and I, because it was all men,
Yeah.
the language sometimes
Yeah.
got
Oh, yeah,
very
yeah,
much
of course.
rotten. When the Mills Brothers came as guests, nobody had the guts
We've got
to
a
say,
watch shaking the table. I know that.
Okay.
sure, embarrass me in front of
Yeah, wish I was a professional.
Say hi to Melissa, Jonathan.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
That's Melissa.
My
Beautiful
girlfriend.
Melissa.
Oh, yes.
We just celebrated. Yesterday was our 3rd anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
7
The
minutes or
3
8
best
minutes?
years of your
Yeah.
life.
How long is this segment?
7 minutes.
Another, okay, 7 minutes. Okay,
Maybe 8.
maybe 8 if we have to go. All right, whatever. All
I'll
right.
fix it in post.
Stand by. I'll give you a 5 count.
Please.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Jonathan Scott with On Air Education. We're here with our guest Nelson Sardelli and history professor, if I could call you professor,
wish I wish. You're promoting me.
Ruben De Silva. I'm going to call you professor now. Now we're talking about history, and history is known to repeat itself. I have to ask you, how do you engage your students and make it interesting for the students in history, especially using distance learning?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's been a tremendous challenge. This whole year has been just a wash in so many ways. But I think I'm actually lucky. I think I have something that you can actually utilize in a much more engaging manner. The subject that I'm dealing with, social studies, history, civics, there's always some way that you can connect to children, I think, and teenagers. I teach high school. So and there's always something in the news that seems to be a real avenue of connectivity with students. I mean, we started off this year with the pandemic, and then the race riots, and so much to discuss, and the kids were actually engaged. When it came to those matters. What's more difficult oftentimes to teach, I think, is the more mundane stuff. Oh, now today we're going to talk about the Fourth Amendment, or about the railroads in the West. And I mean, that stuff is interesting to me. It's interesting to a large segment of students, but there's a swath of students out there who are never going to be interested. So that's the challenge in trying to engage those students. And it was difficult a little bit this year with the online method, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why we're here, because we're here to help our teachers. And we were talking earlier, Nelson and I were talking about how when I was in school, history would teach us about wars.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to know about wars. I didn't want to know about World War I or World War II or the War of 1912, because I was in high school in 1968 to 72 when the Vietnam War was going on. The last thing I wanted to hear about was wars. But I had a history teacher that was very interesting. He would stand up on the desk, and wave his arms and say, your rights are important. And so he made it interesting. So I'm just wondering what tools you
And to
use.
be honest with you, that is exactly why the physicality of a classroom is important. I can't stand at a desk and be dramatic or act or have that sort of a connection with the students in a off of a computer. There's only so much that you can do with that.
Yes.
So it's difficult. You can try to be as lively as you can. You can try to implement like maybe some short videos, break up the lessons, so on and so forth. But that person-to-person connection is so important and fundamental, really, when it comes to education.
Who's the kind of student that you find interested in history?
They can be anybody, to be honest with you. I think every person, understands history in a different way, and I try to implement it in my classroom. I say there's not one way of looking at a certain subject. There's 1,000 different ways, and you can bring your own voice to this discussion.
Even those who wrote did the
Yeah.
same way, because they tell the story
Yeah.
in different ways. I remember two things about learning, and I'm speaking now from a student point of view. I had two teachers that made a real mark in my life. One was my actually Latin teacher, José Cretella Jr., who was a genius in law. He was a funny guy, and he was able to insert humor in everything, even when we're teaching Latin, play with the words and so forth. And then we had another teacher, history teacher, Rosendo Sampaio Garcia. He was the kind of guy that when you enter the classroom, you would hear the flies, because he's still fear on you.
He's
So you're
serious.
really
Yeah.
Serious.
so it goes one stream to another. You know what I mean? And
So I thought that maybe that, you know, an engagement tool for you might be the history of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought that Nelson was here in 1965. And
I came to Vegas on a Conestoga wagon. I know about Las Vegas.
no, but, you know,
Yeah.
there's different engagement. Like, our friend, you and I have a friend in common named Jay Blue.
Yes, yes.
And Jay is a historian about the mob.
Sure.
In 1965,
I don't know anything about the mafia. Just because my name ends in a vowel, we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. Here, how can I help you?
but it was more prevalent in 1965 and the 70s that
Yeah.
the mob was more visible, and everybody, not everybody, but people know about Bugsy Siegel and starting the
Sure.
Flamingo Hotel. Did you have any run-ins?
No, I was very lucky. I knew a bunch of people, but I had no run in.
I don't mean in a bad way. I mean,
No,
you
no, no.
see the guys.
Yes, no, like I said, I knew everybody. I was lucky because my personality, I get along with people, and I don't get involved.
Well, you and I use the same comedy as an engagement tool.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yes.
Whether it's on the radio or live in person, we find that is a great common denominator. If you can make somebody laugh,
Yeah.
then you break down the barriers.
I think that humor is one of the greatest blessings any man can have. I have been in my life in serious troubles where humor was what broke the ice and got me out of problem, as well as when I needed help. The way I approached the thing, you know, it made it funny, and the person felt like helping me because, yeah.
We have some wonderful archive pictures of you with various stars throughout the years. Like Sammy Davis Jr.,
Yeah.
of course, Judy Garland. We mentioned
Yes,
the
yeah.
they found a picture of you and Judy Garland.
Bad bone, yes, yes.
Back then, I mean, how do you even compare the history of entertainment when Vegas was thriving in those years and Frank Sinatra and everybody was.
Well, you see, I came to Vegas when 1965, and I believe that was the tail end and, you know, of a great era. It was, you know, the years when Sinatra came to town, the town vibrates. you
Yeah,
know.
or Elvis.
Elvis, yes, but I'm talking the Sinatra, the D. Martin. I'm a little
Yeah,
older
yeah,
than
yeah.
you are. And it was just fantastic. And I had the pleasure of seeing the city grow and you know going. But then came Howard Hughes, and then it changed. That's why I say when the tail end of an era, because we went into another phase of Las Vegas.
We're going to talk about that change in a minute. We're here with Nelson Sardelli and history teacher
There we go.
at,
Don't get me
at
in trouble now.
Rancho High School, Ruben De Silva. My name's Jonathan Scott. You're watching On Air Education. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right.
Goes fast, doesn't it?
Great.
does.
Excellent.
Goes
You guys
fast.
sound so good. Literally, it sounds so good.
It's
You have
fun.
no idea. It sounds great.
So 1965, yeah. You were coming in at a tail end, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was when there were one name entertainer. Nowadays is those shows that there is not one person that you can identify with, you know, the Cirque du Soleil and all that
There's
family.
still some Cher and Madonna and
Yeah, but not
as
as
far as one name.
no, yeah, but those days was Frank Sinatra, Big Martin, Sammy Davis Jr.
The marquee talent.
You know, yes, and
Mhm.
and they came and they stayed 4 weeks was
Yeah.
the run, and then they disappeared.
Yeah, back then it was called an extended run.
Yes.
Now it's a
That's
residency.
a residency. That's the term.
Now it's a
We've kind of
residency.
gone back to that model now. If you look at it, all this, some of the bigger names that are coming in performing the strip now, they do a run.
This is a 7-minute or 8-minute segment. Last segment.
7.
7 minutes.
I
All
think
right.
it was, the last one went a little long, I thought. Did we do 8 or 7?
No, the first one was maybe a little bit over 8, just because I started the timer later.
Oh, okay.
This one was at 7.
So we're
7
15,
minutes.
and so 15 and 8 would be 23. So we can go 8 minutes.
Okay,
We'll go 8 minutes.
very good.
We've got that clip.
Oh, yeah,
We've
so-
got the Myra Breckenridge clip. I think that's only.
Just one clip will play, or do you want to do
minute.
we could do it? We could do 2, one in each after each break.
Yeah, bumpers after the commercials.
Yeah. So then 7 minutes will stick. We'll stick with 7
Okay.
minutes. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You can always add a commercial.
All right. Great. All right. So are you ready in 5?
Standing by.
All right. Stand by, Jonathan. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, Jonathan Scott with On Air Education, where entertainment meets education. Or maybe when entertainment
Yeah,
meets
yeah.
education. Because our guest is Nelson Sardelli, the great Nelson Sardelli, history teacher Ruben De Silva. So how are you dealing with the kids that are coming back?
That are or aren't.
Are there kids coming back?
Yeah, we do have some students coming back. We have a hybrid model that the school district has set up for high schools at least. But I'll be real with you, we haven't seen the numbers that we expected. On average, I see about 2, maybe 3. 3 is a lucky day if I have 3 students in the classroom.
3 students in the classroom.
Yeah, but they're sitting in the classroom. They're engaged through the rest of the class, still on a virtual sort of format. The vast majority of the students, the other 30, 40 students, are going to be at home.
So what part of history do you enjoy teaching about the most? I'm going to put you on the hot plate here.
My background, my undergraduate degree was in American history, so I love the history of this country. But I became very fascinated with what's being called a global history, meaning how the histories of different peoples in different parts of the world are coming together to forming this globalized society that we're living in. And that process has become like one of the things that I'm very interested in.
I love it, and I saw you said globalization, because this distance learning and this hybrid learning is not just in the United States.
Yeah.
This is a global concern. So we want to help teachers all over the world with what we're offering and what our entertainers can offer as far as engagement tools. You know that we come from a funny place, and that's our engagement tool. And you may have others, and I guess I'm asking what works for you.
What works for me in the end, I think, first and foremost, the students got to know that you care about them. You have to express that to them. Hey, like, I care about you, I love you, I want to see you do well, and be on them. Build those relationships. Even though you're not in a physical, environment, you can still build a relationship with an individual, person to person, through the virtual format. And then the other thing that works is, I think you just got to be on top of things. You have to have some sort of lesson plan, and then you have to execute that on a daily basis. Going through long stems of time where you're not really giving them new information or keeping them engaged. That's when you start seeing, I think, a drop off in engagement.
We've had
You gotta come
several.
with it. You gotta come.
Well,
with it.
teachers have said the same, and we've heard it from a lot of things. A lot of teachers have said the same thing, that you have to show the students that you care.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the number one foremost, that you care, you really care about them learning what you're
Yeah, and you have to
throwing down.
express. You have to say it. I think instead of just like, oh, they'll know I care because I'm here every day, or because I'm grading their papers and writing little notes. No, you have to tell them this. Like, I care about you. I want to see you do well. I'm here for you. I love you. Say it, to your students. And I think that goes a long ways.
Now, in constant contact that we are with GCEA and Nevada State College, we think that distance learning and blended learning is going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
You tend to agree with that?
I think even today we had a staff meeting at Rancho. I was a little late because of that. We had it got pushed back, and they said that a good 200 families at our school have opted to be in a fully distant sort of learning format next year, which is a lot of families who want to participate in that. So it seems to be from just off of this, the early data that's coming in, some of the initial receptions from parents, that we may be looking at this as something that's here to stay in some way.
So as the 5th largest school district in the United States, how important, how relevant do you find Las Vegas to be?
I think, just the fact that we are an organization that large, we are very relevant. I think that there's a lot of school districts who look to us to set the standard. I mean, New York is bigger than us, a few other San Diego, there's a district in Florida. But other than that, we are an anomaly. You don't have school districts that have 320,000 students, as part of their real constituency. They're usually broken down into smaller arenas, and then you have more localized learning. But on the same token, I think we're doing some excellent work in terms of creating a large administrative sort of district that can address things like equity, that can address things like finding those students who aren't going between the cracks, so on and so forth, because we have the resources of a larger community to help out in those matters. Now, if you can only pay teachers a little bit better, that's all I'm saying.
And police officers.
Yeah, and yes.
Emphasis on education is what we cannot lose our focus, in America. We need emphasis on education in any possible way we can. I'm very knowledgeable about Las Vegas. We are the 28th populated city in the United States of America. Even though we're settled in 1905 and then chartered in 13, John C. Fremont came to Las Vegas in 1844. John
And invented the canopy?
Not only that, he came in and didn't stay because the Paiute and the NSS would not comp them for that night. And he says, if I cannot be comped, I'm not going to stay.
If I'm not being
Vegas,
comped.
because that's where the comp mentality
comes
started.
from there.
If you could give one bit of advice to our teachers as far as engaging their students, what would you say?
Well, it's like the professor here has it, personal contact. Sometimes like an entertainer, you're singing, there's few people on the front row, but there's the guys that are sitting there. So when you project, you must make sure that the guy on the last row feels the same touch, if I may call it, as the guy in the front row. So you really have to engage, and it's, of course, I'm pushing the envelope here because that sometimes is a gift from God that you have that.
You have that
But
talent.
if you engage them and and show interest, whatever they have to say, even how
But you
wrong.
have that talent.
Well, I was blessed with the grace of God that when I went to study opera, I didn't stick with it because it was too militaristic. In opera, there is no room for levity. Either you learn what you're supposed to, or you're going to hold a spear in the background for the rest of your life. And I didn't even have a spear. But so I was lucky that God gave me this, and and I get along.
I never heard you sing opera.
Well, I actually don't want to.
And I'm not going to ask you to right now. One bit of advice to our parents and students that are watching right now.
Well, the bit of advice that I would have is just work with us. There's a lot of good people in education, teachers, administrators, staff, faculty, even folks in the community who really want to see our children do well. And it's been tough, and we still have a summer to get through. This pandemic is still going on in the world. We were opening up a little bit here and there, but we have to realize
India,
that
I was the worst.
India is really, really bad right now. That's where my family's from. It's extremely
Yeah,
bad.
I read that.
There's a human tragedy taking place there right now. So until we're out of this mess, we have to, I think, stay on our toes. I know there's a lot of fear and concern out there too amongst parents. I mean, the fact that 200 families at our school have opted not to send their children to school next year is indicative of this. But just know that there are good people working on this, and we have the best interests of our children, of our students in mind.
And you're one of them. I want to thank you.
I love my
Ruben
kids.
De Silva from Rancho High School, my good friend,
Thank you.
the Godfather, Nelson Sardelli.
Godfather.
I want to thank our associate producer, Carol Adams-Hittar, and Richard Giacovino, and everybody here at Giacovino and More, the little studio. And shout out to all the teachers and the parents that are out there. We know that you guys are trying. And most importantly, stay safe, stay happy, eat well, and party hard, my friends. Jonathan Scott, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, by the way, you can send us an email at news1lasvegas@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. See everybody. Peace. So now we're supposed to pretend like we're talking.
I was going to say, I feel sorry for the teachers because some parents, we have to say this, they will just take the muzzle out of the kid and
Yeah.
send them to school. And not only do you have to educate them, you have to raise them.
Yeah, that's
You have to teach them manners. So it's tough.
Oh, these guys have their talent.
Yeah.
Cops and
I
teachers
was blown
are-
away that you only have 2 or 3 kids coming in.
Yeah, only
Carol, if you would be kind enough to say goodbye to everybody in Facebook land. Thanks
Bye.
for watching.
Bye,
Bill
everyone.
behind
Thank
the
you.
scenes.
Bye, Melissa. Bye, everyone.